Armed Robbery, a short story by Gail Hulnick. Copyright 2021. The sun was barely over the horizon when Ted and Monty crept out of the hotel lobby as quietly as their awkward 80-year-old bodies would let them. Maybe they weren't quite as old as 80, but Haley was quite sure they'd reached retirement age a long time ago. When she stopped for the cool-down from her morning run on the beach, she watched them from a spot behind the towel return box on the pool deck. Something was up. They were sneaking along like a pair of teenagers on their way out to wrap houses in toilet paper on Halloween. Their matching turquoise polo shirts blended in with the color of the pool water in the early morning light. And if she didn't already know they weren't, she might have thought they were resort staff, going about their early morning chores quietly so as not to disturb the guests. She'd met them a few days earlier in the free breakfast lineup. Haley was taking a 2-week break from her job as a financial analyst. They were on vacation with their wives from their perpetual vacation back home in Wisconsin. Florida is where you want to be, in December, and like hundreds of thousands of Northerners, Ted and Monty had driven their SUVs down the interstate through snow, ice, fog, and rain until they reached the Paradise Coast. For the first while, Haley waited patiently enough. She did a few subtle stretches, then looked over the buffet layout, the beverage offerings, and the dish at the end of the white linen-covered table behind a sign that read, "Tips, thanks, will be put toward the staff holiday party." Red and green garlands hung from hooks on the walls, and a tiny Christmas tree filled one corner of the room. Eventually, she felt it was time to speak up. "Excuse me, I'm just going to reach past you for a banana," she said. The two men stood in front of her, shoulder to shoulder, debating the merits of bacon over sausage and discussing their upcoming choices. "A banana? What kind of breakfast is that, Ted? She's just going to eat a banana?" The man's voice would have grabbed the attention of a friend driving a motorboat 60 feet offshore. Haley looked at him for a sign of kindliness or even a little humor. There was none. "Ted, I need you over here." An elderly woman with tightly curled hair, a pair of glasses on a chain around her neck, and a leopard print top over pink capri pants stood beside the stack of plates in the buffet line. "And tell Monty that Ruth says to hurry up." Haley had a moment of high hopes for her prospects of snagging a banana soon, but it was another few minutes before the two old guys moved on. She saw the four of them after that day each afternoon by the pool, and she was impressed with their luck at capturing 4 of the best lounge chairs in a prime location. She'd been here 3 days, and so far had had to make do with her towel laid down on the concrete deck. There were signs everywhere reading, "No chair reservations." Detailed rules specified that you couldn't put a towel, book, pair of shoes, or anything else on a chair to reserve it until you come back later. If you left the chair during the day, you couldn't be away more than an hour. Either the hotel staff would come along and move your stuff, or some other guest would. Most of the chairs were gone by 7 a.m. Haley was not willing to give up her morning run to bag a lounge chair, as the desk clerk had suggested she do when she'd gone to complain. "Why aren't there enough chairs for all of the guests?" "Because all of the guests aren't by the pool every minute of every day." "But enough of them are. It's a problem every day. Why not just buy more chairs?" The clerk just shrugged, then tried to interest Haley in booking an all-day dolphin-watching tour with 2 cocktails and happy-hour snacks, all included. "No," Haley said. "I want a pool deck chair." Now, as she watched Ted and Monty, she realized how they did it. They came in carrying armfuls of rolled towels, and they dropped them on chairs, one by one. As the clock ticked toward 8, other guests arrived, handed Monty something, and then were escorted to a chair by Ted. Haley edged closer. "Are you taking money from people?" Ted inhaled deeply. "It's just a $5 for service. We watch the chair for them so they have a place to sit when they come back from breakfast." "Or lunch, or the golf course, or the spa," Monty added. The helpful look on his face showed he didn't get the problem at all. 2 young guys in board shorts and flip-flops whizzed past, handing over the cash in one fluid motion. Ted passed the 2 $5 bills on to Monty, who unzipped a fanny pack around his waist and tucked the money away. "But that's against the rules," Haley said. You're not supposed to reserve chairs." "We're not reserving chairs. We're watching them." Ted tossed the last word over his shoulder as he went after the two latest arrivals to show them which chairs they should take. "But for money." Haley was still shocked. "Pays for our time," Monty said. "Our time is valuable too, you know." "But there's a rule, and it's a good rule." "But it ain't a law, just something the hotel cooked up." "But it helps all the other guests. You wouldn't like it if you could never get a chair at your hotel because all the chairs were reserved." "We ain't guests. We live down the road. Come here every day to provide this small service for a nominal fee." Monty grinned at Haley, and she was reminded of tiny monkeys she'd seen in the wild on a road trip in Mexico. "I gotta go. Ted's waving at me." He shuffled off, and Haley folded her arms while she watched him go. This was not cool. The breakfast room was busy when she got there, and that suited her perfectly. Haley hung around behind a faux marble column near the fruit plates for a few minutes, then zeroed in on her target and grabbed it. 5 minutes later, Monty heard a low voice. "Stick 'em up." Slowly, he raised his hands. "Don't turn around," the robber said. "Take off the fanny pack and hand it to me. Slowly." "Don't turn around," I said. Monty looked for Ted, but he was on the far side of the pool, by the shallow end, watching the water aerobics class. He made his decision. Not going to die on this hill. He undid the buckle on the belt, holding the fanny pack around his waist, and handed it to the robber. Haley paused on her getaway to toss the banana into a waste bin. A few minutes later, she put the fanny pack into the staff holiday party dish in the breakfast room. The next morning, Ted and Monty didn't show up, and it was a free-for-all with the pool deck chairs. Haley went out for an extra long run.